see Frank or Tim after the meeting, please. We're happy to have a representative from Evergreen Valley College here today. He's the dean of one of their divisions, Mark Gonzalez.
Thanks everybody for having me. I'm here representing President Keith H. It's actually his birthday today. I didn't ask him his age. I think it might be a big one, to be honest. It might be a big 6-0, because I'm 55 and I know he's older than me. But I just want to do a brief introduction and just an update on where we're at. Actually for us, school started on Tuesday, on the 4th, so we had a great first 3 days. It's only Thursday, it feels like it's been 6 days, but we started on Tuesday. I don't know if you can tell, the traffic's a little bit bad right now on Yerba Buena, and I won't mention that. That's actually good for us. When traffic's bad in town or nearby, it's actually good for us. Our enrollment is actually up 2.8% over last year, and actually over summer, we were 4% higher than the summer prior. And the reason for that, what everybody said about enrollment, it is true, it actually is down. At actually most community colleges in the Bay Area, it's down, and statewide it's down. We actually attribute our growth to something that we already talked about here, which is actually dual enrollment. We have many dual enrollment programs with high schools, Independence, Mount Pleasant, Oak Grove, Latino College Prep Academy, I believe Lincoln High School. So we have at least 5 schools that we're doing dual enrollment. I know one school, we're doing actually 4 classes. So again, the benefit for them, and a lot of people don't know, is that their parents don't have to pay tuition. It's actually paid for by the state, by either the district or our district, but basically get a free college class. They get 3 college units. If you did it right, and I don't know how you could, but you could almost have, not 60 units, but you could probably have a solid 40 units leaving high school. So to me, you got it for free, because even if you went to a community college, which it's not going to be free, they'll have some fees. So again, our enrollment's up about 2.8%. We have 9, as of this morning, we check it every day. It's like our clock. We have 9,657 students enrolled. So we hope to retain them during up through census. Census is a time where it's basically 3 weeks into the semester, where the state, it's like a snapshot, and the state says, how many do you have at census? So that's including ads, drops. And so hopefully we retain most of those students at census. That's always our goal. We actually have a lot of state initiatives. For those that work in a community college, there's something called AB 705. Has anybody heard of that initiative? Basically what that is actually all 114 community colleges have to do this. So it's a law that it affects English and math departments. Basically it gives them 1 year to complete transfer level math and transfer level English, which is English 1A. And I don't know the math requirement, but basically you have to be at transfer level in 1 year. And how that translates to us is basically that's 2 semesters to get there. Because what's happening is people are being placed 5, 3, 4 levels below transfer level, and they're never getting out. And the state has tried by giving us money through basic skills, through SSS, through all these other initiatives, and they're not seeing the needle being pushed statewide, not just Evergreen or San Jose City College, but statewide. Not a lot of students are completing, it's actually very low. So the state created a law to say that everybody must be a transfer level, complete transfer level in 1 year, which is 2 semesters. So that takes effect in fall of 2019. And so basically all schools are scrambling statewide to get this done. And what that does, it actually changes your curriculum. You need to have embedded tutors. You need to have wraparound services, which is basically tutors and a lab and maybe a tutoring center. So we're actually rewriting a lot of the curriculum in English and math at the transfer level so that we can have these students complete in 1 year. We're also changed the assessment. In the past, everybody would take a standardized assessment test, and a lot of people were assessed very low. What that told the state is that the assessment test doesn't necessarily work all the time. So we're doing something called multiple measures, which is actually using some of their high school transcripts, or actually using their high school transcripts to see what their GPA is and was in math and English. So we're actually using that as their placement. And so basically that's an initiative that's taken all my time. For the last year, I've been serving as the interim vice president of academic affairs, and so there's probably 5 statewide initiatives that are basically encompassing every VPI in the state. Another one is called Guided Pathways. Has anybody heard of that? That's basically a framework, as Chancellor Eloy Oakley talks about. He's our state chancellor. The Guided Pathways is basically a way to get somebody through in a timely manner. So at Evergreen, we have something called the Timely Completion Agenda, which means we want our students to get in and get out faster, but we also want to ensure learning. So Guided Pathways is also another state initiative that all 114 schools are doing. We also have another initiative that somebody touched on, actually the CTE programs. It's called Strong Workforce Program. It actually affects both community colleges and K through 12. And there's actually some bonds that are exclusively for K through 12 to reach up and to reach down. So we're actually well involved in Strong Workforce. And what that does, I think the key with that one is we're not just creating jobs that we think are going to be good for our students because they're in computers or because we're in the Silicon Valley, but they actually have a consortium of all the Bay Area schools, and some of the units actually just do things that they basically do the research, and we can only put money into a growth area that shows that there's potential. So there's actually a lot of research that goes into it, and right now it's electric cars and robotics are some of the growth potential fields. So we're actually gearing a lot of our programs. And I can't say the name of the company, but we're finalizing an MOU with a major car company that makes a lot of really great, fast electronic cars. But I'm not mentioning the name. But hopefully we'll have a good meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we get that MOU through. What that does, it basically gives our students a fighting chance to be competitive. So our Strong Workforce program is actually geared for students, and we want them to have a living wage. If this program goes through, they actually will get paid internships at our school. And this, again, very expensive cars, I won't mention the names, but we'll have over $1 million of just cars at Evergreen so that our students can work on their batteries and on their brakes and on whatever mechanisms they have. So we're actually very excited about that. We also have another emerging program called the Spanish Translation and Interpretation Program. And basically what that does, it teaches students to translate in the courts and also in the medical field. So if you've seen at hospitals where people need, instead of bringing, little junior who's 7 years old, who's basically in the 4th grade, to interpret what the doctor's saying, this will bring interpreters, that will be their job, to do that. People don't realize that, but translation isn't just listening, interpreting, and telling what they said, but now you're going to be needing to use electronics in the hospital. I don't know if you've seen it, but they're using iPads exclusively sometimes to do a lot of the work. So it's actually a technical field too. In addition to that, some of you, or one of the earlier programs talked about guaranteed enrollment into San Jose State. We actually have 5 ADT programs, which is associate degrees for transfer. And if you complete these programs within 2 years, 60 units, you're guaranteed placement in any state community or state college like San Jose State or Fresno State or Cal Poly. Basically, so we have 15 of those programs. I'm just going to list them really quick. Anthropology, child and adolescent development, communication studies, economics, English, history, kinesiology, which is the new words for PE. When I was a kid, it was called PE. Now it's called kinesiology, music, psychology, studio arts, AJ, administration of justice. People don't know that, but at Evergreen, one of our bigger graduating classes is administration of justice. And so that's one of our most popular programs. We have biology, business administration, math, and physics. And so we also have something called the Evergreen Promise, which is similar to the San Jose Promise, which is similar to the California Promise. And what that bit is basically free books, free tuition, and free transportation for up to 2 years. And for any, right now we're targeting brand new high school graduates that graduated from a high school in San Jose. So we actually have something called the Evergreen Promise, and that's in conjunction with the mayor of San Jose. So that's up and going. We have a cohort of about 500 students now that are enrolled. And so we've been doing that for about 1 year. And so, yeah, it's going very strong. I'm just going to keep it brief today because actually a lot of people talked about CT and we're actually doing a lot of the same things that the high schools are doing. But we're focusing on transfer in a timely manner because again, the longer you stay in school, it's proven, right? And obviously you just lose money. And the average, who knows the average to get a 4 or 2 year degree, what's the average length of time? 6 years. So imagine getting a BA degree, which is 4 years, is that 8 years? 8 years is a long time to not make money. And people don't think about the money lost. They think about the potential, but if you're in school for 6 to 8 years, that's a lot of money that you weren't making. And so our school is really focusing on a timely completion agenda. And my focus in academic affairs is that basically pointing all of these initiatives, state initiatives, into one path, which is basically get them working in a timely manner, get them graduating in a timely manner, getting to contribute to the economy of San Jose. And one of my personal agendas is, there's 2 Silicon Valleys, I don't know if you know that. Who's been in the corporate headquarters of Adobe or Google or Facebook or Salesforce? You ever been in the big Salesforce company buildings in San Francisco? It's like a different world. You don't see a lot of our students there. Our goal is to get a lot of our students there. Okay. So I just want to briefly, for any questions that you might have, about anything I talked about? Yes, sir.
I'm being helpful to the automotive program by hopefully expanding it to include auto collision. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we have a meeting with the dean.
Okay.
So it will be an expansion to that.
Okay.
Because those technicians make over $150,000 a year. So that's one thing. You mentioned the math and English. Is that a requirement only for full students or as well as for part-time students? Because most of the students probably are part-time because of economics.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big hurdle to overcome by making it to be English 1A and whatever math level to do. So is it reachable? Has it been proven to be able to do it?
Well, according to the state, what they have proven that we haven't been doing it the way we've been doing it. So their proof is in the pudding, like they'll see the average time it takes for people to get to 1A. So the proof is that they haven't been doing it. But again, all the schools, all 114 schools are doing it. There is one difference though. The 2 years, or the 1 year is for English speakers. The ESL track is actually 3 years. So if you're a second language learner, there's actually 3 years. So there is a difference. And that one won't be a law, or you don't have to put it until fall 2020. So that one still has a little bit of time. AB 705 for English and math is in fall of 2019.
So are you saying the ESL program, it takes 2 years right now?
No, what I'm saying is...
Right now, how long does it take?
Oh, it depends on where you were placed. You could be placed 5 levels below 1A, you could be 3 levels. It all depends on the person.
If you're a beginner, so it takes about 2 years, no?
I would say a minimum of 2 to 3 years. But again, you're not...
Is there any articulation between the faculty of ESL and the faculty of English department that is required to teach the English 1A, English 1B?
There's actually some crossover, because some of the highest ESLs cross over with some of the like English classes. So they're actually very similar classes.
Are they 2 different departments?
They're independent departments. Within,
And that's the reason why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, they're in the same division, but they're different departments. English is made up of English, ESL, reading, and writing. So there's, and foreign languages. So there's 5 departments within a division. But at one point they have to be the same. English 1A is pretty much the gatekeeper class to transfer to for everybody. And so, but again, it depends on where you were assessed. That's how long it takes. Depends on your workload, depends on if you're only taking ESL and concentrating, then it might be faster. But if ESL is only one of your classes, it may be a little slower.
Can you give me a breakdown for full-time and part-time students at Evergreen College?
I can't do that right now, but if you email me, I can get that to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Great.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.